Budget newspaper ette. Okay, very good afternoon, everyone. Today we are starting or dealing with the second chapter of AFM subject of University of Pune, that is Advanced Financial Management, a subject core, subject for finance specialization in terms of MBA syllabus. The second chapter deals with specifically focuses on the concept of capital structure and firm valuation. Regarding the contents of this particular chapter, the chapter is titled as Capital Structure and Firm Value. It is having the cognitive abilities with respect to understanding the course outcome of this particular subject. Is explaining and understanding the theoretical concepts related to raising and use of funds and how to value a firm. In this chapter or subchapter, we have different aspects or learning outcomes with respect to assumptions and definitions of capital structure, the net income approach, net operating income approach, the traditional position, the Modigliani and Miller position of taxation and capital structure, the concept of trade-off and signaling theory, and the valuation with respect to PBIT and EPS analysis, the valuation with respect to ROI and ROE analysis, and lastly, the leverage ratios. After continuing or studying with the leverage ratios, we'll be dealing with the guidelines for the capital structure planning. So these are the learning objectives in respect to this particular chapter. This particular chapter will give you the capital structure equation, that is in what mix a capital structure should be in ideal position of an organization. Next thing, we are going to define the optimum capital structure and then list down its various features. Naming the capital structure theories, which I have already quoted. So we'll be dealing in detail about the findings and suggestions that has been gained by these particular theories. Listing out the general assumptions of the capital structure theory. So whenever you are designing a capital structure and following it with the perspectives of a capital structure theory, so what are the various general assumptions that we have to make? With respect to capital structure theories, we'll be dealing with the NI, that is net income approach, NOI, that is net operating income approach, and we'll critically evaluate the MM theory, that is Modigliani and Miller theory of capital structure. And why we'll also deal with why we say traditional theory is called as a neutral structure and an ideal structure. Then going further with the meaning or understanding of a capital structure. So what is a capital structure? Capital structure refers to the combination or mix of the debt and equity which a company uses to finance its long-term operations. So capital in the sense, for example, where this particular capital is found, it is found at the balance sheet side, liability side, that is at your left hand side. So balance sheet liability side, in the left hand side, the first item in your liabilities is the capital. So out of this particular capital, there are several different types of capital or different components. Simultaneously, along with your capital, you have a certain type of capital or a certain amount that your particular companies have, wherein they have been raising from the general public or from the banks and the financial institutions. So the amount that has been raised from the general public is called as an equity capital, either raised by the shareholders or either called by the way of stock market. And another perspective that is called as the debt capital. Debt capital is that particular capital which is raised by some another people, that is outsiders. Now these particular outsiders may be investors, lenders, borrowers, and so on. And the different financial institutions can also form the components or perspectives of the debt capital. So different sources of equity and different sources of debt are also available for you. So a capital structure which is a combination or a mix of debt and equity is called as an capital structure. Usually there is a certain feasible assumptions of or the standard assumptions with respect to capital structure of debt and equity is it is always treated as a long-term operation. Why? Because the requirement of capital structure in terms of debt and equity is for a longer duration, which is either 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years more. Now, capital structure refers to the proportion between the various long-term sources of finance in the total capital of the firm. So whatever may be the total capital of your firm, say it may be 10 crore, 50 crore, 100 crore, or 1000 crore. So a total capital structure defines about how you have optimum utilized, how you have made a balance and combination of all the different sources of capital, specifically with long-term sources of capital that are made available for you, and your capital structure is designed accordingly. A financial manager chooses that sources of finance which includes minimum risk as well as the minimum cost of capital. So if you are a good ideal finance manager, if you are looking for an ideal position, profitable position for your organization, then while designing the capital structure of your firm, you will think of your long-term operations wherein you have minimum risk associated and you have the minimum cost of capital. So the cost of capital, that is the amount that you have to pay as a cost of capital that you are acquired, that is also minimum, and you have the minimum risk associated that in proper way of time you will be able to repay this certain sum of money, and you will be able to pay off this particular expenses, and the firm can generate the investments out of it. Going further, now the major classification with respect to the capital that you are having or is made available for you. So the total capital required by a company or an organization comprises of two components. Major classification is from the shares and another is from the debentures. Again, furthermore, the shares have been divided under two types or two categories, that is the equity share capital and the preference share capital. And furthermore, there is no division or the explanation for debentures perspective. So what we can see, the different required capital can be of majorly two types, that is shares and debentures. Different factors influencing the capital structure. So now, what are the various factors that influence the capital structure? We'll see one by one in detail. Major classification is in terms of internal factors and external factors. Now look at the perspectives of the internal factors in detail. So the internal factors that affect your capital structure decision of either the debt and equity mix is as follows. First thing, the size of the business. So while considering or deciding the size, the acquisition of your cost of capital, the availability of capital in terms of equity and debt, what we have to do, we have to first undertake and design or understand about the size or the nature of the business. So what is the size of our business? कि आपका transaction capacity कितना है? That is whether it is 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore, or it is of 100 employees, 200 employees, and so on. Or what quantity you are looking for? Quantity in the sense you want to produce 1 quantity, 10 quantities, 1,000 quantities, 50,000 quantities, and so on. So depending on what size of your business is, how many plant locations do you have? So all these factors needs to be taken into consideration and defines and it decides the optimum capital structure of your debt and equity. The nature of business, what type of nature of business it is, whether it is a production, whether it is operating, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is sales, whether it is after sales, whether it is chemical, power, industry, so on, cotton, textile, processing, what type of business that you are dealing in. So what is your nature of business, that also needs to be taken into consideration. The regularity and certainty of income. So depending on your size and nature of business, you have a certain understanding and a certain prehistoric information with respect to what will be the regularity in your business. If your product is a durable product, if your product is a non-durable product, then based on this particular durability of your respective product, you understand, you identify whether the product will be sold regularly, whether the income that can be generated is regularly, and whether the income can be earned by your organization is certain or not. Now, depending on the need of the product. So depending on the need in the sense, whenever you say a certain product is durable, then what happens, or a non-durable, the demand or the quantity that has been expended or used by a particular product depends on its size and composition. So depending on the nature of this particular product, you decide whether the income level from that will be generated out of this particular product will be regular income or irregular or periodic interval. Next thing, the asset structure. Based on this particular asset structure, the internal factors also decides or take into consideration about what type of asset structure that you have, whether it is a fixed assets or major proportion of combination of fixed and current, only fixed, only current, combination of all types of assets, the holding period of assets, the investment that can be generated out of these particular assets, the amount recovery from these particular assets, and so on. Next thing, the age of the firm. So age of the firms definitely matters because it depends on the experience that a particular firm or a company carries with on. So depending on the firm experiences, what happens, we have to identify at what scale of business the particular company or business organizations is operating. Now, size of the business, age of the business also defines whether it is a established or a new scale organization. If we say it is an established organization, what we can see that we can identify the capital structure will be at a higher stage. But if it is a well-developed and associated and proper regular firm, then their age factor makes a certain clarity or understanding as to their capital requirement may differ. So you may require a capital at a very frequent or regular interval. You may require a certain capital required at a certain different intervals of years also. Desire to retain the control. So what is the position of your control in the management? So in what way the management is control, whether it is a completely top management level or a participative management or a middle level management composition and so on. So design of control and in the organization, the capital structure is directly influenced. The future plans of the organization with respect to the expansion, growth, business development, product development, product market strategy, and so on. So all the future plans what a company looks for in a further situation also decides or also takes into consideration what are the future plans. So according to the future plans, according to the forecasting of the organization, the company has to undertake the respective decisions and the capital structure mix needed to be designed accordingly. The operating ratio. Operating ratio is that ratio which designs your operating activities. That is what amount of capital is utilized and occupied by the respective capital or by the firm. So your operating ratio defines you what amount of capital will be required at which interval and how you need to satisfy or fulfill those requirements. Next thing is the trading on equity. The trading on equity specifies about the equity returns that is being generated by an organization to respective shareholders. So whosoever your shareholders may be, what is the return and rate of return that is made available for them and how they can get this particular rate of return at a frequent interval. And lastly, the period and purpose of financing. So for what purpose you're looking for finances, how these particular finances will be made available, and what is the period or duration of this finance. Whether this particular duration is for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, or you're looking for a long-term duration of more than 20 years. So what type of financing a particular company is looking for, and what is the purpose wherein this particular finance can be utilized and occupied. Coming with the next perspective is with respect to the external factors that affect your capital structure. The first condition of the external or the component of the external factors is the capital market condition. Your position in the capital market or the stock market defines what is the position of your market. So the capital market condition is sense whether your share prices are increasing, whether it is decreasing, whether it is a stable stage, and so on. Whether your company is listed on the stock exchange or not, what is the number of shareholding pattern, the rate of dividend that has been given, and so on. So your capital market conditions also is a various essential condition which requires your availability of finance and in what way the equity and debt structure can be sorted out. The nature of investors. What type of investors are investing in your organization? Whether they are small scale investors, medium scale, large scale investor, huge investors, bulk investor. There are different types of investors who are regularly and frequently investing in your organization. There are certain types of investors who are a silent mode of investors. There are certain types of investors who are very quick and hasty, wherein they invest in your organization and they very quickly exit from your organization also after their profit level or margin is been fulfilled. So the nature of investors, their amount and size of investment also matters a lot. The statutory requirements with respect to the government policy. So there are certain rules, regulations, norms, guidelines, and documents, documentation and procedures a organization has to follow. So what are those particular statutory requirements? Whether the company is fulfilling it in a timely or a suitable way or not, and everything needs to be taken into consideration. The statutory requirement with respect to the state government, with respect to the central government, international borders, cross-border transactions, and so on. So every component and aspect needs to be taken into consideration. Another perspective is with respect to the taxation policy. Now, taxation policy is majorly classified as two types. A taxation policy can be with respect to the direct taxation and indirect taxation. Now, when I say direct taxation, wherein your employees or your company is paying a tax on your behalf of an employee. So what is the taxation policy? What is the amount of TDS that needs to be deducted? What are the various sources of income for yourself and for your employees? So a proper balance of all set of direct taxation needs to be in a proper picture. Another concept is of indirect taxation. Now, with respect to indirect taxation, we need to understand what are the various taxes with respect to the manufacturing, production, and distribution and a company or organization has to pay. So a proper optimum mix of your taxation policy, what is the amount of tax that will be paid by the respective company towards the government and manufacturing and processing and supply and distribution and after sales. So everything needs to be in a proper place. Policies of financial institution. Now, when you're going for on capital structure, we go usually for the debt perspectives also. Now, when the debt picture comes into debt position comes into picture, what happened? The concept of debt financing is a very concern. Now, whenever this particular concern is into picture, what happened? We need to understand who are the sources or lenders of this type of finances. Now, there are various types of financial institutions who provide a certain amount of or a loan as a part of loan to satisfy or fulfill your requirements. So in order to fulfill your requirement, what you need to do, you need to approach these financial institutions and avail or fulfill your loan requirements accordingly. So what are their financial policies? What are their recruitment, what are their distribution, what are their supply policies, and so on. So everything perspectives with respect to availability of finance, rate of interest, capital structure, sources of financing, the optimum capital mix that they can provide, and so on. So policies with respect to the financial institutions also needs to be taken into consideration and impact your capital structure decision. The cost of financing. The cost of financing in the sense that is your cost for equity, cost for debt, and cost for preference capital. So everything matters a lot at every point of time. So what is the cost of financing that is made available for you, the type of capital that we have allocated, and what rate you are expending or using this particular capital. Seasonal variations. With respect to the seasonal variations, the demand for the capital also differs time to time. Now, your nature of product. Now, if your nature of your product is for a 24/7, 12 months a usable product, then your capital requirement will be an ongoing process wherein the working capital requirement is much higher. Now, if your product is a seasonal product which can be used or which can be consumed for a certain specific season, then your capital requirement will also be a seasonal perspective. Now, for example, the rainy season. Now, in terms of rainy season, the manufacturing of umbrellas and raincoats will be at a very higher stage. So whenever we say that the rainy season is starting from June onwards, now your raincoats or your manufacturing of these certain types of goods and services starts from this perspectives of March, April, and May onwards. So the capital requirement for this particular industry who is manufacturing raincoats or umbrellas, they'll be requiring this particular financing or availability of finance in terms of in the month of March, April, and May. Another perspective, for example, in case of travel bags. Now, travel bag is a particular concern. If your company is into those manufacturing, you can travel to any place, any destination at any point of time. There is no season available for it. You may go to different seasons and different locations and enjoy your holiday or vacation or trip. So whenever a particular travel bag comes into picture, what happens? There is no time constraint or a climatic constraint with respect to this particular concern. So the requirement of travel bag is from 24/7 for all 12 months. So this particular type of product requires regular financing, wherein after within a specific time duration, after a specific period of interval, either of 1 month or 2 months or 5 months, the capital may be required very frequently. So what we need to see, the availability and seasonal variations of capital needs to be ascertained simultaneously. The economic fluctuations with respect to the demand and supply, the income, the per capita income of an individual, the availability of finances with the people, the patterns of the economic generations, the flow of seasonals, and so on. So the economic fluctuations also matters in a very frequent way. And lastly, the nature of competition. So what type of competition is available into the market, whether it is a perfect market, imperfect market, monopolistic, oligopolistic, duopolist, in which type of market you are governing and controlling your activities, where are your goods and services supplied, whether it is a wholesale market, retail market, which type of market. So based on your nature of competition and nature of market, your requirement or structure of capital differs. Now, what is the optimum capital structure? Optimum capital structure is the best capital structure which implies the most economical and safe ratio between your various types of securities. It is that mix of debt and equity which maximizes the value of the company and minimizes the cost of capital. So, in simple terms, optimum capital structure is a combination and optimum decision of a mix of debt and equity. So what proportion of debt should be availed and what portion of equity should be availed. So a proper optimum utilization, proper optimum capitalization, capital structure decides about your equity and debt composition. So the combination of debt and equity clearly understand and clarifies your optimum capital structure. Essentials of a sound or optimum capital structure. So when we can say that your optimum structure is sound or equivalent or competent or of a good position. First thing, it should have a minimum cost of capital. So your cost of capital for that particular specific capital, whether it may be a debt or equity or preference, so it should be having a minimum cost of capital. So minimum cost of capital gives you a certain concern that your optimum capital structure is of a sound nature or a sound position. It should always get associated wherein there is a certain minimum risk association. So if there is a minimum risk associated with your organization, then you can say that the business is quite flourishing, the investments is fruitful, and it is providing a proper returns on time to time. The maximizing returns. So whatever capital that you are using, it should be productive, it should be futuristic oriented, and it should provide the maximum returns to your investment that you have made. Next thing perspective is with respect to the maximum control. The proper control of the management should be made in this particular capital so that it is needed to be observed that the capital does not get misutilized and underutilized or overutilized, and it does not happen a certain picture or a situation that your capital structure may go as a waste perspective. Next thing, the safety perspective, that is with terms of holding of this particular capital. So whatever capital that you have obtained or gained or the raised from the perspectives, it should be safe to use and safe to the proposition or safe to the composition. So from every perspective or angle, what happens? The capital structure should be safe to use also. Simplicity, the acquisition of this particular capital should be as simple as possible. Now, for example, if you want to avail a certain debt capital and from the different financial institution, there should be no too lengthy and hasty procedure which will consume your time and it will lead a certain concern that the capital is not provided at the specific time duration. So for the capital availability, it should be quite simple and it should be quite flexible also. So depending on the requirement, depending on the need, depending on the change of market conditions, depending on change the economic and climatic conditions, the capital must also be flexible. That is, if you want to convert a certain mode of capital, then the capital can be convertible. If you want to convert a debt into equity, then that particular option of feasibility must be made available with the investor or the company that is holding. Attractive rules, if the rules are quite feasible and conducive to the environment, then we can say that the capital is quite acceptable and you can generate a proper returns out of it. Lastly, the commensurate to the legal requirements. So there should be no too hasty, too lengthy, and too utilized legal requirements into this particular concern. So whenever you're going for either of the equity or debt capital or the capital structure, we should see and find out that the legal requirements should be at a very minimum cost, and you should try to avoid all those particular perspectives. Lesser the legal requirement, the faster will be the procedure, and it will be quite easy for the organization to utilize and use this capital at every point of time. So what we need to understand and we need to see, the optimum capital structure is quite much essential, possible, and affordable for you if it is providing you a frequent rates of return, it is providing you a seasonal returns, and it is with less legal requirements into position or picture. Now, going further with the different sources of long-term finance that are available as an option with you. So the first, there are major two categories or two types, which is called as a proprietor's fund, and next thing is the borrowed fund. So sources of finance in terms of long term, what we can see, the proprietor, the business owner himself can raise a certain sum of money, or he can borrow this particular sum of money from the outside institutions. When we see, or when we can say that a particular proprietor raises its funds, then this particular type of raising of funds can be from either three sources. First thing, it may be from the equity capital, it may be from the preference share capital, or it may be from the reserves and surplus. That is, you are keeping a certain sum of money as a retained earning or the general reserves that has been maintained by the organization. The borrowed fund from the second type, it can be in form of the long-term debts. Now, long-term debts are those particular perspectives wherein you go to the open market, general market, you approach the different financial institutions, different banks, and you avail a loan facility, or you raise the amount from that sources of capital. So major classifications. So what we can see, there are different sources of capital that is available for you in terms of long-term finances, which may be either equity capital or preference capital or reserves and surplus or the long-term debts. Importance of capital structure theory or availability of finances. So the importance of capital structure, it determines the risk assumed by the firm. So always your capital structure designs or determines what is the risk associated with your organization or with your capital. So what happens at this point? So depending on your capital structure of your firm, whether it is more of equity, more of preference, more of debt, more of borrowings, more of retained earnings, what type of structure of your capital is, it determines what is the risk holding pattern of this organization. Next thing, the capital structure determines the cost of capital of the firm. So what is the cost of capital? Where your cost of capital is getting too much insisted and too much expensive. So, and also it affects the flexibility and liquidity of the firm. So depending on the availability of funds, availability of finances, it is properly well designed, assigned, and impacted that what is the availability and flexibility of the firm. Liquidity in the sense at what frequent intervals your capital can be utilized, your capital can be used, and it can be generate the returns for the organization. It affects the control of the owner of the firm. So what is the control of the owner of the firm? That is the top management involvement, the shareholding pattern involvement in the capital utilization, capital structure of the firm also plays a simultaneous important role. Now, coming with the next perspectives is with the determinants of capital structure. We have already seen this in detail. That is the nature and size of the firm, the stability of earnings, stages of life cycle of the firm, the cash flow availability of the firm, the cost of capital, the rate of corporate taxes, that is direct and indirect taxes. I've already explained the retained control, the control of the top management, the flexibility, trading on equity, the legal requirements, the asset structure, and lastly, the nature of investors. Now, understanding the concept or point of indifference is calculated. So, what is the difference that is between now whenever you are going for an equity or preference or debt or the retained part of a capital structure, or you're going for the long-term availability of finances. So there is a certain point of indifference. That is, it may generate a profit for you, or it may generate a loss for you, or it may be at a standstill position, that is no profit, no loss situation. So what is the point of indifference? Wherein we can say it is an ideal situation, break-even point situation. So the formula for calculating the point of indifference is as follows. So you can see the respective formula on these slides in the presentation, where X is the point of indifference. I1 is the interest under the alternative financial plan 1. I2 is the interest under the alternative financial plan 2. T is the tax rate that is being charged by the government, that is the taxes that you are paying. Make sure the tax rate is always a capital or a particular amount that has been paid. So always at every point of time, the tax must be paid by the respective company or the organization. Next thing is the preferential dividend. So preferential dividend that you are paying to the preference shareholders. S1 is the amount of equity share under the financial plan 1, and S2 is the amount of equity share under the financial plan 2. Next perspective, you can see the break-even analysis of EBIT, that is earning before interest and tax. So you have EBT on your respective x-axis, EPS, and EBIT on x-axis and y-axis, and a proper equity composition of equity advantage and debt advantage is provided at this point of time. So if at a certain point of time, if there is no optimum capital structure, if there is no proper balance between the equity and debt, then what happens? The equity advantage can decrease or your debt advantage can increase. So the debt and equity, alternatively, you can see very clearly, that is, if your equity is more and debt is less, what happens? The equity advantage is created. But after a point of time, if the debt advantage is more and your equity is less, the debt advantage can increase and it may incur losses to the organization. Now, coming with the major perspectives, you can see here the different capital structure theories. So these are the different types of capital structure theories that are into existence, and you can see the major 4 capital structure theories are into existence. Number 1, the net income approach. Number 2, the net operating income approach. Number 3, the traditional approach. And number 4, the Modigliani and Miller position. So these are the different types of capital structure theories, wherein a proper understanding, a clear brief introduction about how your capital structure should be, how your composition of the capital structure should be, is given in a very feasible and understandable way. So in this way, we are concluding for the today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll see with the detailed explanation of each and every individual capital structure.